Hello, I'm Enigmadness, your guide to the darkest depths of human depravity. Today we dive into the chilling world of serial killers who use the ocean as their dumping ground. Join me as we uncover the top 10 serial killers who hid their victims in the sea, exploring the sinister minds and gruesome methods of these maritime murderers. 1. Joel Rifkin. Joel Rifkin, an infamous American serial killer, confessed to murdering 17 women between 1989 and 1993. Known for dismembering his victims, Rifkin disposed of some of their remains in various bodies of water, including the East River and the Hudson River in New York. His method of scattering body parts in the water made it difficult for authorities to identify and locate all his victims, adding to the horror of his crimes. Rifkin's killings were primarily motivated by a deep-seated hatred and a desire for control. His victims were mostly sex workers, whom he saw as easy targets. Rifkin's brutal methods and meticulous planning allowed him to evade capture for years, leaving a trail of fear and anguish in his wake. The discovery of body parts in New York's waterways shocked the city and led to a massive manhunt, ultimately resulting in his arrest in 1993. Despite his arrest, many of Rifkin's victims remain unidentified, their fates forever linked to the dark waters where their remains were discarded. Rifkin's case serves as a grim reminder of the dangers faced by vulnerable populations and the profound impact of unchecked violence. 2. Robert Durst. Real estate heir. Robert Durst was suspected in several murders, including the death of his neighbor Morris Black in 2001. Durst dismembered Black's body and dumped the parts into Galveston Bay, Texas. Though he was acquitted of murder, claiming self-defense, the discovery of body parts in the bay highlighted his gruesome method of disposal and deepened suspicions about his involvement in other disappearances and deaths. Durst's life has been marked by a series of mysterious incidents and allegations, including the disappearance of his wife Kathleen McCormick in 1982 and the murder of his friend Susan Berman in 2000. His ability to avoid conviction despite overwhelming evidence has baffled law enforcement and the public alike. Durst's use of the ocean to dispose of Black's remains was a calculated move to conceal his crime and evade justice. The shocking revelations about Durst's actions came to light in the HBO documentary series The Jinx, where he inadvertently confessed to multiple murders. Durst's case highlights the complexities of the legal system and the lengths to which some individuals will go to hide their darkest secrets. 3. Leonard Lake and Charles Unforgiving. This deadly duo terrorized California in the 1980s, killing at least 11 people. Lake and Unforgiving were known for their sadistic torture and murders, often burying their victims on Lake's remote property. However, they also disposed of some remains in the Pacific Ocean, attempting to conceal their heinous acts. The pair's brutal methods and the discovery of remains both on land and at sea shocked the nation. Leonard Lake and Charles Young's crimes were driven by a twisted desire for power and control. They built a hidden bunker on Lake's property where they imprisoned, tortured, and killed their victims. The discovery of videotapes documenting their horrific acts provided crucial evidence in their eventual capture and prosecution. The duo's use of the ocean to dispose of remains was part of a broader strategy to avoid detection. Their crimes highlight the depths of human depravity and the importance of vigilance in protecting vulnerable individuals from such predators. 4. Christopher Wilder. Known as the Beauty Queen Killer, Christopher Wilder went on a cross-country killing spree in the United States in 1984, targeting young women. Wilder lured his victims with promises of modeling contracts before torturing and murdering them. He disposed of at least one of his victims' bodies in the ocean, using the vast, unforgiving sea to hide his crimes. Wilder's reign of terror ended in a shootout with police, but the scars of his actions remain. Wilder's charming demeanor and manipulation tactics made him a particularly dangerous predator. He exploited the dreams and aspirations of young women, turning their hopes for a better future into a nightmare. Wilder's ability to evade capture for an extended period allowed him to continue his spree, leaving a trail of devastation across multiple states. The discovery of bodies in the ocean underscored the lengths to which Wilder went to conceal his crimes. His case serves as a stark reminder of the dangers posed by individuals who prey on the vulnerable and the importance of community awareness in preventing such tragedies. 5. Pedro Alonso Lopez. The monster of the Andes, Pedro Alonso Lopez, is one of the world's most prolific serial killers, with an estimated 300 victims across Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. While most of his victims were buried in shallow graves, Lopez confessed to throwing some bodies into rivers and the ocean to avoid detection. His ruthless methods and staggering number of victims make him one of history's most horrifying killers. Lopez targeted young girls, luring them with promises of gifts and safety before brutally murdering them. His ability to operate across multiple countries made it difficult for authorities to track his movements and apprehend him. Lopez's capture in Ecuador in 1980 revealed the full extent of his atrocities, shocking the world with the sheer scale of his crimes. The use of water to dispose of bodies was a strategic move to obscure the evidence of his actions. Lopez's case remains a chilling example of the capacity for human cruelty and the ongoing need for vigilance in protecting vulnerable populations. 6. Gordon Cummins. During World War II, Gordon Cummins, also known as the Blackout Ripper, used the cover of London's wartime blackouts to murder and mutilate women. Cummins's spree in 1942 resulted in the deaths of at least 4 women. He disposed of one victim's body parts in the River Thames, hoping the dark waters would conceal his atrocities. Cummins was eventually captured and executed, but his brief reign of terror left a lasting impact on wartime London. Cummins's crimes were marked by a disturbing level of violence and cruelty. He took advantage of the chaos and darkness of the wartime blackouts to carry out his attacks, leaving a terrified city in his wake. The discovery of body parts in the Thames highlighted the brutality of his actions and the lengths to which he went to hide his crimes. The eventual capture and execution of Cummins brought a sense of justice to his victims and their families, but the memory of his horrific deeds lingers. His case serves as a reminder of the dangers that can emerge even in the most challenging of times. 7. Gary Ridgway. The Green River Killer. Gary Ridgway is one of the most notorious serial killers in American history, with at least 49 confirmed victims. Ridgway preyed on vulnerable women, many of whom were sex workers, and disposed of their bodies in and around the Green River in Washington state. His use of water to hide his crimes helped him evade capture for nearly 2 decades, until his arrest in 2001. Ridgway's methodical approach to his crimes and his ability to blend into society allowed him to continue his killing spree for years. He often targeted women who were less likely to be reported missing quickly, making it easier for him to operate undetected. The discovery of bodies in and around the Green River created a sense of fear and urgency in the community, leading to a massive investigation. Ridgway's arrest and subsequent confession provided closure for many families, but the pain and loss endured by his victims' loved ones remain. His case underscores the importance of persistent investigative efforts and community awareness in bringing serial killers to justice. 8. Rodney Alcala. Rodney Alcala, known as the dating game killer due to his appearance on the TV show, committed a series of brutal murders in the 1970s. Alcala often lured his victims with promises of photography sessions before torturing and killing them. He disposed of some bodies in remote locations, including coastal areas where the ocean could obscure his crimes. Alcala's charm and cunning made him a particularly dangerous predator. Alcala's ability to present himself as a charismatic and trustworthy individual allowed him to gain the trust of his victims, making it easier for him to carry out his horrific acts. His use of remote and coastal locations to dispose of bodies demonstrated a calculated effort to avoid detection and hinder investigations. The eventual capture and conviction of Alcala brought some measure of justice to his victims, but the full extent of his crimes may never be known. His case highlights the dangers posed by individuals who can manipulate and deceive with ease, and the critical need for awareness and caution in interactions with strangers. 9. Richard Biegenwald. Richard Biegenwald, the thrill killer, was responsible for at least 6 murders in the 1980s. Biegenwald buried some of his victims in his backyard. but he also disposed of others in the ocean to hide his tracks. His unpredictable nature and varied methods of disposal made it difficult for authorities to link his crimes, prolonging his reign of terror. Biegenwald's erratic behavior and thrill-seeking motives drove him to commit a series of brutal murders, often targeting individuals at random. His ability to adapt his methods and locations for disposing of bodies made it challenging for investigators to establish a clear pattern and apprehend him. The eventual arrest and conviction of Biegenwald brought an end to his deadly spree, but the impact of his actions continues to be felt by the families of his victims. His case underscores the importance of thorough investigative work and the need for vigilance in identifying and stopping serial killers. 10. Andrew Cunanan. Andrew Cunanan, the spree killer infamous for the murder of fashion designer Gianni Versace, left a trail of bodies across the United States in 1997. Cunanan's violent spree culminated in Miami, where he hid out on a houseboat. Although not all his victims were disposed of in water, his final stand near the ocean adds a chilling maritime connection to his deadly rampage. Cunanan's killing spree was driven by a complex mix of motives, including personal grievances and a desire for notoriety. His ability to evade capture for an extended period allowed him to continue his deadly rampage, leaving a path of destruction in his wake. The eventual discovery of Cunanan's hideout and his death by suicide brought an end to his reign of terror, but the pain and loss experienced by his victims' families endure. His case serves as a reminder of the profound impact of violence and the importance of swift action in apprehending dangerous individuals. And so we come to the end of this harrowing journey through the twisted minds of serial killers who use the sea as their final hiding place. These stories remind us of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, both in the ocean and in human nature. If you found this exploration intriguing and want more stories like this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to join our next adventure into the unknown. Until the next journey, intrepid explorers.